and we have a number of candidates here tonight. I just want to recognize them. I'm not going to ask them to speak. Okay, we have Paulette Burdette. And so for county commissioner, and they need help. They need all of us to work, Cynthia. And I think Shannon Materio is here. I see her. Yeah. Shannon Materio. I know Jamie Goodman, he's going to get mad at me. I know he's not a candidate, but hopefully he might run again. Did I miss, is anybody, oh, well, yes, the CFO candidate, it's exciting, a statewide candidate. William Rankin.
Melissa.
So when the little talk's over, get them together.
Melissa McKinley.
Where's Melissa? I don't know Melissa McKinley. Oh my God, Melissa, I don't know you. That's a, you got to change that. I'm going to turn it over to the mayor, and then she's going to introduce our guest of honor, and he can tell us what's going on statewide.
Great. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. We're so happy that you showed up for this really fun occasion. It's my job tonight to introduce Mr. Clendenin, and I have a bio that goes for about 3 pages. So I'm not going to read it all to you. You all know that he's the vice chair of the state Democratic Party. He's an active pro-labor supporter, has been involved in labor issues for a number of years, and of course involved in issues in our state for a number of years. I'm going to just turn it right over to him and get started. Mr. Clendenin, where are you hiding?
Over
there
here.
You are.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, one, I want to thank everybody for coming out today, and it's always good to have a room full of Democrats. I don't care where you are in the state.
Yes.
And nobody can turn out Democrats like Palm Beach, I'm just saying. So it's very nice to have you. I'm here at the first vice chair of the Florida Democratic Party. Our job is to win elections. As a party, whether you're operating at the state level or you're operating at the county level or at the clubs and the caucus levels. We always need to stay focused that this is what our roles and our responsibilities are. And I'm here to tell you that there's also nobody like Palm Beach in the entire state of Florida that understands that and knows that better. Everywhere I go around this state, if we could use the model that I see here with your zones, your level of activism, the amount of involvement that you have from the grassroots, from the precinct level, all the way up to your county chair, if we could replicate this in 66 other counties, I guarantee you that we'd have more Democratic legislators in Tallahassee to fight the Tea Party and fight this craziness that we see in Tallahassee. So thank you for everything that you all do in Palm Beach, because you should be proud of yourself, pat yourself on the back, and help us spread that word. We had a really good victory this last week up in Pasco County with Amanda Murphy. And I'll tell you, yeah, absolutely. It was a really small, just a little over 300 votes separated her from her Republican opponent. As 300 votes, I'll tell you, you don't have a race that runs that close without a lot of pieces coming together. And a lot of those pieces came together was the involvement that we saw from other areas of the state. We didn't just win that up in the Tampa Bay area, we won that here because you all were involved. You all run the phones, you all were helping. We put out an appeal for small donors to come in and kick in $5, $10, $25 to help Amanda fund her campaign, and that call was heard. So I want to thank you also for what you did to send one more Democratic legislator to Tallahassee to help fight the good fight. So thank you. But this is a great group of people. I have a lot of good friends, here. I don't even know how many years I've known Rand, but a lot, way too many. I had been really, really young then, and probably 50 pounds lighter. But and Ira, I worked really closely with Ira on. I was the chair of the Florida Democratic Party Platform Committee, and to say that Ira was incredibly helpful in what we did in putting together a very concise document that highlighted in clean, easy to read terms what we stand for a party and what our purpose is as a party. That if you ever have an opportunity to look at that document, I think you'll be proud of the contributions of the party and Palm Beach, because Palm Beach was very, very much a part of that. I know anytime that I've had any type of involvement, one of the first resources that I usually will go to is this county, because of the type of expertise and the experience that I've known to grow and trust and use to be able to actually produce things. A lot of people do a lot of talking, And then there's other people that do a lot of work in and actually produce, and this is one of those areas that does a lot of work in and they actually produce. So thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you for what you do in Tallahassee, and thank you, Bunny, for everything that you do for Palm Beach too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. We're really proud to have you here today. It's been my pleasure to host this event and to be able to have you and talk to you about what's happening on a statewide level. So thank you for being here.
Can you tell us a little bit about the congressional seat in the Tampa area?
Dynamics in the Tampa area, and of course, hopefully with our congressional representation from the state of Florida. Many of you are probably already aware that Congressman Bill Young, the longest serving member of the U.S. House of Representatives, recently passed away after being ill for quite some time. That position, unlike the Senate, constitutionally has to be filled by a special election. So they'll follow Florida statute to fill that with a special election. We have several candidates that have looked at that position. The good news is, once again, we're going to be calling on y'all's help to make sure that we pull this off. It is a district that should be represented by a Democrat. It is a Democratic, and it's not just a Democratic district in it's a Democratic trending district. Barack Obama won that district. We have a lot of elected Democrats. We have a municipal election coming up in St. Petersburg in November, and I'm here to tell you we are going to have all but one seat on the city council. So the Democrats should actually basically own that city of St. Petersburg, and barring some seismic event, we're going to elect Rick Kreisman as the Democratic mayor of St. Petersburg, which will be the last large city mayor in the state of Florida. That every large city mayor in the state of Florida is now going to have a Democratic mayor. And this is all part of this equation, this puzzle of piecing together Democratic success, which will lead us to Congressman Young's former seat. Alex Sink currently lives in Tampa, which is not actually in the district, but is obviously part of our larger community. She is seriously considering that. I'm hoping that she will file for that, as soon as they declare for a special election. Jessica Ehrlich is currently a filed candidate. I believe that Alex is probably going to be the 800-pound gorilla in that room, and she should be able to. There's not a reason in the world that we should not be able to elect Alex Sink as a member of the House of Representatives that seat. If those of you that are on my email list, look for that, and as soon as she files, I'll let you know. We have another opportunity in the Tampa area I would really like to see Jessica look at. Senator Jeff Brandes, one of our only really true, because of gerrymandering, pickup opportunities in the state Senate and the cycle, happens to be in the Tampa area, and that's Brandes' seat. Unfortunately, we allowed that to slip out of our hands a few years ago. So we've got this guy in this seat that is a long-term threat to our party, and we need to take care of that now. I think Jessica would be a perfect, Jessica Ehrlich, who's currently running in that congressional seat, I think would be a perfect fit to slide down and take out Brandes. So hopefully we can encourage her to do that with some financial support and some encouragement.
How diverse is the state Democratic Party with regard to caucuses?
Well, there are official caucuses that within the Democratic Party. We have caucuses that represent all walks of life that we readily identify as a Democrat. We have our Hispanic caucus, we have a Black caucus, Haitian caucus, we have senior caucus, a very active and growing veterans caucus, which I couldn't be happier about, because that's one of those issues that is between business and veterans. It's one of the things that personally frustrates me in giving up territory to our opposing party, because we all know that it's our party that represents the people that belong to these groups. I mean, these veterans are dependent upon health care provided by a functioning government. They're dependent upon the paychecks and the retirement benefits and all of in these issues. Businesses, we should be a strong proponent of small businesses. They're employers, and they provide the livelihood of so many working Americans and so many working Floridians, and the lifeblood of all of these communities. So we have a business caucus, we have a veterans caucus, because the Democratic Party, quite frankly, represents the people of the state of Florida, and not necessarily these large multinational corporations that are not tied to our communities or our state. So the answer to the question is we have a lot of caucuses that represent everybody. And I encourage you to actually belong to them because they're very strong and and if you are a veteran, I absolutely encourage you to belong to that Veterans Caucus. I think it's good for our party.
Great. What else?
Our next meeting is October 29th at the Governmental Center at 7 o'clock. I'm slipping that commercial into the Veterans Caucus for Palm Beach County.
Oh,